What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I am here with Casey and Michelle. Everybody's here and everybody's back. Yay!
Hello,
We are
hello.
discussing the season 2 premiere of the Daryl Dixon show, in which Carol manages to uphold tradition by bringing someone's destruction within 24 hours of meeting them.
Clearly,
Wasted no time.
Oh,
none,
none at all.
none.
Oh, goodness. Okay, let's start because I have a lot to say about this episode. Do we want to start with the France stuff first, or do we want to start with the stateside stuff first? Where do we want to go, Daryl or
Stateside.
Wait.
Carol?
I
We
say
gotta
let's start
with
with
here.
Daryl and
Oh, you
we
want to start
end
with
with
that? Okay.
Carol. Yeah,
Okay.
let's get Daryl. Let's just go ahead and get that out the
We're
way.
going to go ahead and get Daryl out the way. Okay, all
Okay.
right. So, following up on the season 1 finale, we know that Daryl was this close to making it on a boat to coming home. And of course, Laurent showed up at the last minute, all happy go lucky. Daryl, like, yes, I know you're trying to go home and I'm about to ruin it, but okay. So Daryl obviously comes back with Laurent. It's now been about 2 weeks. According to what Daryl has said, he's been trying to train Laurent on how to kill the walkers and everything. But let me tell you again, and we said this in the last episode, the thing that bothers me about these people at the nest, good intentions and all, what they keep trying to do is, at least in the first season, they kept pushing the whole thing of Daryl. Oh, you should stay here. Maybe there's a place for you here. Maybe this is where you're supposed to be. Blah, 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 blah. We really need you. Laurent has never had anybody with your kind of influence. Da, 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 da. Okay. So y'all convinced this boy to stay. And now that he's staying and he's doing the things that he's good at doing and that he thinks he needs to be there doing, now y'all want to try to tell him that he don't need to be doing this. Oh, you're distracting Laurent. Laurent is meant for greater things and he shouldn't be learning about violence and this.
And exactly what I said when that was happening. This is some bullshit. That boy needs to learn how to survive. We just talked about he's not trained. He doesn't know what he's doing. He off exploring the world and not realizing that there's danger. I'm all for we getting back to the regular society. We're gonna get education. We're gonna go back to middle school, high school, university. I get all of that. Learning about history of the world, I get it. But
Mm-hmm.
you need to look outside your window. If that shit comes crashing down, will
Right.
y'all be able? I feel bad because those people in that building will not make it. The
At
fighters
all.
die and they are toast.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to learn
Mm-hmm.
how to fight and survive. It's too violent.
Yeah.
Violent, violent. Let's
That's
get a
why Daryl
walker on you
said.
pulling out your intestines. That's violent.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how to fight back. Okay, I'm done. That's all
No,
I need.
no, because even Daryl was like, so that's more important. It's more important that he stay alive.
Right.
Talking about he has a
Right.
greater purpose. What
Right.
greater purpose is it to be alive? To be here, to be what you need me to be. If I'm
You
dead,
Right.
can find a balance. He needs to train because he has never been trained. He was taught that they had a soul and they need to don't kill him, but he realized that's not working. He needs to learn how to make it.
yeah.
Right.
Because if y'all go on a field trip and they run into some walkers, what y'all gonna do? Like one person can't protect the whole herd of people because y'all feel like it's too beneath you to learn how to fight back.
Right. And I really feel like they are just that. It's interesting because that whole movement has been about one thing, like preserving humanity,
Mhm.
bringing back the human race and all this other stuff. So I understand on some level wanting to have that mindset, but I think also you guys have been in the Mont Saint Michel too long and you've
Mhm.
had very little exposure to walkers except for those who actually go out. But other than that, you guys are on this, basically, it's like an island. You know, it's very inaccessible. If the tide is in, you can't get to it except by boat. And then when the tide is out, like, who really is going out there? No, it just, they take their circumstances for granted, and they're being very naive about it.
Also, you may have a group of people who may want to come over and take over.
And see, that's
And you
the
won't even know
interesting
what to
thing.
protect just yourself, period, against a
Right.
regular human being.
But
Right.
this is the interesting thing, because if they've been holed up in the Mont Saint Michel that long, nobody has tried to come and infiltrate. Like, nobody in France thought, oh, that's a great big structure. That would be a perfect place for us
It
to
got
have
walls.
headquarters. They got walls. You have vantage points. You can literally see all around because there's no trees. It's surrounded by water.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have been a perfect setting for like Padre, if you think about it, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you literally can see everything. You can't really be taken surprised by anything, which is probably what lends to that naivete that they have about, oh, well, you know, Laurent doesn't need to be learning about this and no violence and blah, blah. Dude, soon as y'all start talking like that, that means that at some point, some of y'all are about to start dying.
Right.
And they are too far into the apocalypse. We 14, 15 years in. They're way too far in for
people to
you
still be
not to
that
be able to
ignorant.
protect yourself.
Yeah.
Right. You have to, again, have a balance, some self-defense. And he's young, so he needs to learn how to do it now.
That part. The same way the Alexandria, I was gonna get it together. Same way they were trying to teach stay young.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be able to survive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
The
if you think
children
about
of
it,
this place ain't gonna make it.
yeah. But
The
if you think
adults
about
of
it, the
this place ain't gonna
Alexandrians
make it.
weren't doing it either. It wasn't
That's
until
true.
Rick and them got there.
That's
Of course. Yeah.
Because what he say, how many of y'all do I got to kill? For you realize. But they had a false sense of security too because of the corral, the quarry, I mean, where all the walkers had happened to be.
Right.
It's like y'all can't believe that just because nothing happened yet, that it ain't gonna happen.
Right. And be prepared for when something happens.
Because
I have
like
nothing in place.
Because like Michelle say, Rick's groupies, they destroy everything.
Well, to be fair,
so if one of them show up, just be prepared.
Well, one of them did show up, and he's there. It just will take a little longer for it to be destroyed. His name is Daryl.
Okay.
So
they not prepared.
They're not prepared.
And he's trying to low key prepare them because, you know, was it the last episode or last episode where he had the people on top and he was trying to teach them how to load their guns and fire their weapons.
Yeah.
But if Lusang is just like, oh no, we don't want that violence, y'all all gonna die.
Well, this is just how I feel about it. Daryl may not be causing the chaos right now. I mean, he did cause some chaos with Madame Janae's stuff, but truth be told, she deserved it. And her people deserved it. But if Daryl needs to be preparing them for anything right now, he need to be preparing them for Carol. Because once Carol get to France, I'm sorry, everything is just done. Everything is just done. So, but anyway, we're not gonna talk about Carol yet, because that's a lot. But okay, going back to Daryl and going back to France. So we find out towards the beginning, again, this is 2 weeks after Daryl's attempts to go home have been thwarted. And in that time, Madame Janae's forces have captured some of the rebels, including Falou and Emile. So, of course, Sylvie and Isabel are worried because they're like, these are the people who helped us get here. Like, we have to do something. Lo Sang he's exercising caution, saying, yes, we're going to go do something, but we have to be careful because we have to make sure that we're not found out, But Daryl was like, look, if Madame Janae has them, she's going to torture them for information, and then she's going to kill them if she can't get anything from them. Like he even says, I don't think they would give us up. So in that case, she's gonna kill them.
Yeah, she ain't gonna waste no time.
Right. And at this point, you start seeing like a little bit of that dynamic between Losang and Daryl, because Daryl clearly knows what the fuck he is doing out here in this world. I'm not going to say Losang doesn't, because I'm sure he is aware of the danger, but I don't think
It's
he
not
has
the
the
same.
firsthand experience like Daryl does. So it's like when you're listening to them talk, it's like I hear Losang, I hear him trying to hold on to humanity, trying to hold on to, following a certain path. And I'm like, boo, this is not gonna work. And we make the joke all the time about Rick and his people coming in and destroying places, but truth be told, they're not the ones who are destroying the places. It's just the fact that they're the ones that's opening up everybody else's eyes, because y'all haven't been dealing with this stuff. So the minute y'all have to deal with this, yes, y'all are going to end up losing more people and things are going to be more catastrophic because you don't know how to deal with this shit.
Yep.
If we really look at it in that way.
The variety of what Daryl has gone through. Let's go from the beginning until this point. So a different type of people. We got people eating you, you know what I'm saying? We have territorial people.
Mm-hmm. People wearing people wearing masks of the dead too.
Right. Oh, well, that right there, they will not even understand how that
No.
even
Mm-mm.
was horrible.
Mm-mm.
Then the government a small little 2-man government trying to take over everyone, Commonwealth. You know, they have experience in that. And you've been in your little castle and like, oh, we're just going to carry on with school. We don't need really everyone learning how to fight.
And we're waiting for the Messiah to come and
Well, I'm
save
going to
us
tell you something. The
all.
Messiah knows how to fight. So y'all better train a little boy if he is.
He needs to.
Because remember at it had to be the season finale when it was the dream sequence that Daryl was in when he was trying to catch Laurent and Laurent was in the middle of all them walkers and was just like this.
Praying,
That's literally what the people of the Nest believe.
Yeah.
That's their vision. Oh, he won't be harmed. No harm will come to him because he is the one who's here to save us.
Right.
So walkers, he's immune basically. Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let's
Look,
get a walker and see if a walker don't bite him. Let's try.
Because
I mean,
if he was immune, those walkers in the beginning that he had to kill wouldn't have been trying to get him.
Right. Mm-hmm. And he wouldn't have been scared of him. Or even, let's go back a little bit further, when he was in Paris and he went to the Eiffel Tower. Like if he was immune in that sense, and again, I'm going back, we referenced World War Z like a few weeks ago. I think we were talking about this. We may have been talking about something else. Mm-hmm. But remember in World War Z, those zombies kind of went past people who had been sick or people who had like cancer or that kind of, it was almost like it covered them in the same way. It shielded them in the same way like Michonne's walkers did,
Right.
So it's kind of like when you look at Daryl's dream that he had about Laurent back then, you're wondering, is that the same thing? Like, would the walkers really walk past him? Well, we've seen since then, no, that's not the case. Them walkers will go straight for him. I mean, he was hiding up under something and one of the walkers got down on his knees and tried to get to him.
Right.
So obviously he's not invisible to them. So I don't know. It's kind of like what you said, Michelle. How are you going to test this theory of him saving the world? Like, what is he supposed to do? Is he supposed to be a cure? Is he supposed to be immune? Both? How are you going to do that? How are you going to test it?
I really feel like if we're going that route, I feel like it's more of they need to get him to a medical researcher. It's more what could be in his blood.
Right.
But I mean, that's in the perfect world.
Well, yeah. I mean, it could be in this world too if they still have researchers active in Paris. I mean, again,
they do.
We're gonna go back to World Beyond.
They do.
There were some.
They on that ship, and they doing some other stuff. I'm just saying.
Didn't Daryl kill most of those people on the ship?
They probably some other researchers. Okay. Yeah, they probably some other ones.
Yeah,
But
And the ones
they
that
on the
Madame
wrong
Janae
side.
has.
Yeah, they on the wrong side though.
Yeah. But then also like in World Beyond, we had those researchers and Dr. Bennett and was it Iris or Hope? Hope.
Oh.
They stayed behind. They're still trying to work on a cure or trying to work on, you know, a vaccine or something that will keep the change from happening. But it's like we haven't seen a plethora of researchers. We've seen doctors, yes. Dr. Emerson, I'm gonna go back to him in Tales. We saw him, but again, he's way off in an isolated part of the world too. So it's like all these people who may be able to do something, they're not in the same spot together. So it's like you really don't have many options as far as testing this theory out. And again, going back to our discussion from the last episode, so what's the theory? What are we doing with Laurent? Because they still haven't really said, aside from he's the Messiah, he's going to save everyone. Y'all still ain't explained to us how this is going to happen, which worries me. Because again, going back to The Last of Us, the way that y'all were going to use Ellie to save the world was you were going to kill her and then take what was, you know, in her brain and in her brain stem and use that to, I don't know, mass inoculate everyone, whatever. But that wouldn't have worked out well for her. She would have been dead if it wasn't for Joel stepping in. So is that going to be a similar situation with Laurent? Are they going to try to kill Laurent to do this? Or are they going to, like you said, Michelle, expose him to something? And then what, Daryl's going to have to go in and save him. And it's just, it's too much right now that we still don't know. And we're now 7 episodes into this whole show.
Mm-hmm.
We really don't know what the Nest's purpose is. And I'm going to be honest, watching this particular episode, I to not trust Losang. I'm not saying I feel like he is being deceptive, but there's something that I feel like is not being said, especially with his I guess that's his assistant, because she's the one who keeps saying something about we need to do the ceremony. He's like, no, he's not ready for the ceremony. What ceremony are y'all talking about? What y'all doing? What what are y'all doing?
I'm scared.
You probably should be.
Yeah, it's time to go when you talk about some ceremony, what this ceremony involves.
Right. Especially in apocalyptic,
right?
Or,
yeah, you know,
dystopian landscapes. That's never a good thing. But aside from the Nest, okay, so Daryl, I guess, finally convinces Losang that, hey, we need to go ahead and do what we need to do to rescue our people. Because it's not just for Lou and Emil. I think there are some people from the Nest that have also been captured. So Daryl does lead a group of people to try to intercept the transport with Falou and Emil. And I'm trying not to be skeptic, but the fact that Daryl planned something and it didn't go the way that it was supposed to until later, like with that little explosion that didn't happen. And then, of course, some people did end up getting killed because they had to shoot out, even though the goal was not to kill anybody. But one, it makes me feel like something like, I don't know, something about that whole situation is not right. And then two, Madame Janae is there. Why are you hesitating to kill this bitch? You have
He
already...
wasn't. He was reloading his gun.
Nah, it was hesitation.
He was moving a little too slow.
He was. I'm
because
sorry.
She's sitting there and she's
Casey,
like,
yeah. She is not a young chicken to be moving that fast, so he was moving slow.
Especially being injured.
I'm so sorry.
Injured.
Yeah.
Daryl lifted the gun up and was just looking at her while she was doing her little villain monologue. Whatever. Daryl, anybody else?
Yeah,
Daryl would have lifted up that gun and shot them immediately. But I don't know, because you yourself told Lo-Sang she's not gonna stop, and y'all already know she's not gonna stop until she gets Laurent. Why would you hesitate?
You just should have shot her. I'm confused too.
You could have been done with all of this.
Look, it's show over.
Right. Like, oh, hey, guess what? Madame Janae is dead. Laurent doesn't have to run for his life anymore.
Be safe.
Yeah, yes. And I'm sitting here looking at it in the background. She's sitting here talking to him, leaning up against that gas thing, and he's looking at her. He reaches slowly into his pocket. He reloads, and then he does the gun like this before taking aim. Dude, you could have killed her 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times by now. And now you hesitate. And while you hesitate, the explosion finally goes off in the back. You turn around and look, and she's gone. I'm like,
he was trying.
Okay.
No, he would. Daryl does not have to try. Daryl has done this 1,000,001 times.
Yeah.
There is.
If it was somebody else, I would have been like, oh, okay. But you know better.
Right.
Yes, it could have ended there. It could have, but we all know that there has to be a point where we need them for something else. So I get it. Yes, we could have killed her and been over, but then the show would be over.
No, because
so we should have known.
No.
Okay. Say he
There's
killed her.
other villains.
No. Say he killed. So say he killed her. Then what?
Well, I mean, because I was gonna say we didn't see Cadron in this episode, so we don't know where he is. I mean, I know Madame Janae had him taken off, whatever, but he could.
Yeah, the likelihood that he's still around on her good side is very low.
I was gonna say he could have talked
because he killed her man. He killed her man and then lied to her.
Yeah.
Or attempted to lie.
Yeah.
He finally told the truth.
Yeah.
And told it all. So he ain't on her good side. We just gonna take him out the picture. Who's left? Because Quinn dead now. What would be the point? It would just then become the ones that live where Daryl is just trying to find Daryl.
Gotcha.
Right? Because the only threat at this point is the walkers. Because nobody else is really looking for Daryl. Janae is the only one who was like the American. But at this point, even if old boy got loose, you done fucked me up. You know he fucked up somewhere.
Yeah.
In a dungeon. Growing a beard like he been there for 10 years. You know he probably you know what I'm saying when they throw you away the key. I mean, put you in the dungeon, throw away the key.
Yeah.
So if in the weird world that we live in, Daryl ends up saving him. Okay, so now
that's probably going to happen because he let them go.
That's what I'm saying. In this weird world, because he already saved him when he killed all the men. So now, turnabout is fair play. Now Daryl got to save his ass.
And I get that. I guess the other question I have is, do we really think Madame Janae is working on her own? Because if you think about it, this is a huge, huge operation that she has. Trying to reunify France and having this big military in a time of chaos. It would have been easier, I think, had it been the older times, had it been regular times, and there was more of a system set in place, more accountability. But she is one woman with all of these people. Do you really think she is working on her own? Because I mean, think about it. Just like in the world beyond, when we thought that what's her name? Elizabeth. We thought she was the head honcho, and then turns out, oh no, there was somebody else bigger. You know,
I mean, there's always somebody else bigger. Always.
So that's my question. Like, okay, so who is the next big bad above Madame Janae? Because if Daryl had killed her, I don't think it would have ended there, because she does still have people that are loyal to her who probably would have been like, oh, we really got to go find him now. Or would there have been somebody else who would have been like, oh, okay, oh, well, you know what, Marie? No, I don't think she has that much power, but I'm just saying.
No.
But I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you think about it, she was Quinn's girlfriend. So she might have some people who were working for him who might be loyal to her. And especially now that Quinn is dead, I'm just throwing some stuff out there, because I'm trying to think of where this can go, because again, we already know the show has been renewed for season 3. They're currently filming. There are rumors that they have been renewed for season 4. So I'm just thinking, this whole Madame Janae thing, like, one thing we have learned about the villains in the Walking Dead world, they rarely last more than 2 seasons.
Right. So it has to be, it's going to be someone, it'll be something else that they get into.
Right.
Yeah. Because you really don't know, we know Madame Janae, but we don't know if she's also having issues with someone else.
Right.
We don't see that side, because it's not her perspective. It's just her dealing with Daryl and this group, but she could be going to war with someone else, and then that's the bigger bad. That's who we figure out.
Because other than that, like, you know,
or some scientists gone mad in another group they encountered thinking they're going to help Laurent, and like it ended up being the Last of Us, and they trying to kill, and you know, they all sweet and stuff, like, oh, we'll take care of him, this is so great, and turned out to be an issue. Yeah, but it got to be somebody really big and bad, because we got to be Carol involved, you know. However, Carol can be big and bad as just being a housewife baking cookies, so she don't have to be fighting a group either.
Right.
But we all know that Carol don't play, especially when it comes to her family and her friends.
Right.
She's not about to play about Daryl.
Yeah.
And if she gets to the point where she, you know, gets in contact with, not contact, but, you know, a proximity to Janae, and she figures out, oh, you looking for the American, my friend? You looking for my friend?
Yeah.
Carol gonna be sweet and nice, and like, oh yes, but you already know Carol is ruthless.
Yeah, and you know what? That's gonna be a situation where it really is gonna be interesting, because if Carol ends up in France, which we already see, like, towards the end of this episode, she is well on her way. Okay, so let's say she does make it to France. Let's say in all of that, like, France is a huge country. Let's say she gets wind of where Daryl is. I mean, if you think about it, one, we don't see a lot of people in France to begin with. You hardly see walkers at all. Like, even when they're just traipsing through the countryside, barely any walkers. So for her to pick up any clues about where he is, that's going to be hard enough. But if she starts asking questions, and the people around there already know about Daryl's reputation, the American, you mean to tell me 14, 15 years into the apocalypse, and we have not one, but 2 Americans just pop up in France? You know they're going to tie them together, because that's too much of a coincidence. So I think if that were to happen, and Carol does meet up with Madame Janae, once Madame Janae realizes she's American, that's automatically going to be suspicious to her. I don't know if Carol will be able to pull off the you know, the ignorant happy housewife, like, oh, I'm just here, I don't know,
I'm just a regular American on vacation.
Right.
And then, because where you come from,
that part,
where did you come from?
And if she uses the same excuse that she told Ash, the guy that she meets in this episode, oh, I'm looking for my daughter was here at the 14, 15, you just not coming to look for her?
Okay, so now we talking about Carol.
Okay,
yes,
we can go into the Carol stuff. But I'm just saying, it doesn't, it's not going to make sense. She's going to have to, I think at this point, Carol is going to have to, she's going to have to be like Terminus Carol. There's not going to be any, I'm going to come confront you directly and play this particular role in order to find out what I need. No, she's going to have to come in there and be stealthy.
Which she can be, like she can be.
But okay, let's go into Carol. Let's go into Carol, because
it's so much.
When we see her in the last episode of the first season, she's looking for Daryl, because we know that she and Daryl have been in contact via radio before Daryl got shipped off to France. So she already knows that he's in Maine. Okay. She has a starting point. She can probably pinpoint where the radio transmission came from, or she can just start asking questions about the type of people Daryl may have been around, or a guy on a motorcycle, whatever. But the thing is, Carol already has found the motorcycle, because there's a guy riding it, and she runs him down at the end of the last episode. She finds out where he got it. And then she takes the bike. She locks this dude in the trunk of the car that she's in. She takes off. So we pick up this
quick question.
The
sign, when didn't that say she was in Freeport?
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure, because I said, wait a minute.
I had that issue with the last episode too, because when she's chasing Mick down in the car, he's actually headed in the direction where you see the sign that says Freeport. Okay. So when she's asking him the questions about where he got the bike, he says, I got it several miles back that way. Find the old gas station and then turn left. He was talking about going back the way that they had just come. So why did she keep going forward in the direction she was chasing him? But I mean, maybe that was just me. But I was like,
but wait, wasn't I'm just for reference, wasn't Freeport where, I can't think of his name, Curdy from Dead City was? Wasn't he in Freeport? What was the name of their city?
Okay, I have to
because remember they had a sign too. That's what it made. Maybe I'm wrong.
Because theirs was different.
I could have sworn it was Freeport.
Oh Lord, you finna make me go back.
Hold on,
because I can't think back that far. That was what,
that's
a year ago.
Google is our friend.
Okay, so while you're Googling that, so Carol she takes the bike back to the place where Daryl was, and she does play her little I'm stupid type personality there, which it works with them, because again, and Casey and I talked about this, you're looking at a lady who, by surface looks, you're automatically assuming that she's older because she's got the gray hair. You're assuming that she's fragile, that she's probably not mobile, that she's probably not athletic, that she probably doesn't know how to really hold a gun or all that stuff. First of all, if you look at that little lady, okay, and you don't see a badass immediately, there's something wrong with you, because this woman is traveling by herself in the midst of a zombie apocalypse. Obviously, she knows how to take care of herself, right? Or am I just wrong?
No, I mean, if you seeing an older lady by herself, I'm just being honest. If you see an older lady, that you think is old and fragile, by herself, at this point in time, how many years we been in this?
Right.
Then you need to be scared.
Right. And technically,
because this could be a chick who was CIA, I don't know.
Right. And let's be
trained. Because honestly, I'm not trying to be mean, friends. A person by themselves, they would have been gone a long time ago. The weaker people without help was actually gone quicker than the ones who could
That part.
Fight. So if she's traveling alone and she's still alive and she looks good, like she's not looking like she falling apart, you know what I'm saying? Y'all may want to walk away.
Right. And then if you think about Carol, okay, we're saying this apocalypse has gone on maybe between 12 and 15 years at this point, right? So when we first met Carol, she was probably, I would say, maybe mid to late 30s. Okay? Because Sophia was 12, right? She was probably, if you think about the type, just kind of the way that Carol has described her upbringing and the way things were with Ed, just in the little bits and pieces that we've picked up through the years. Carol probably was one of those people who basically the way their family told them their goals in life was to get married, have a child, blah blah blah, and that was the kind of the way Ed treated her as well, right? Like, oh, you're my housewife, you're supposed to do whatever. So you gotta kind of maybe think Carol got married in her early 20s, okay, right? So that would make her about maybe mid 30s when we meet her, which means technically speaking, during this time, she's still not even 50. So she still ain't old. I mean, think about it. All of us here are in our late 40s. We're not old. We just don't, quote unquote, look it because we're not full gray. She went gray a long time ago, but a lot of people go prematurely gray. You know, I have a cousin who went
she
gray.
She started off gray. So,
well, she was kind of like a dirty blonde.
First of all, stress friends. We may have a hair full of gray if we were that stressed, and you know, you living on the edge.
Right.
Living on the edge.
But I'm saying all that to say, because this is a discourse I see a lot online when it comes to Carol, because you do have these super uber like Carol fans who are like so defensive about her and everything, and you know, there are people out there who really think that people are like targeting Carol or even Melissa McBride because of their age, because you know, that's one of the reasons why they won't put her together with Daryl or blah blah blah. I really don't think it has anything to do with that, because again, Carol's character is not that old. If she is, we all old, because we're all right around that same age. She may be within a few years of us, but the point is, people look at the gray hair and they automatically make assumptions. And I think, hello, Apollo. And I think that's the problem with these guys that she ends up coming across, because they're looking at her like, oh, she's not going to do anything. Oh, you mix, old lady. Oh. And she's like, huh. Like, she didn't even answer the question.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, you're dumb again because this little old lady is by herself. She's not ragged. She's not bloody. Like, oh, I need some help. Like, she's straight walking. And you just automatically assume.
And look at the way she's dressed.
Right. You need to be afraid. Because honestly, I mean, come on now. We can take a vote here. We don't know how long we will survive in the apocalypse.
Not long.
Look, I need to be taken care of. We already talked about that.
Okay, they say Carol is 25 when the show started.
Okay.
So she was 25.
So that means she's just barely 40 now. So, okay, so yeah, so even more so. I'm glad that you found that, because I saw something somewhere where they were like, Carol's supposed to be like in her 50s or 60s. I was like, Melissa McBride is not even that old. Like,
right, like you just putting it again. Y'all don't understand.
Well, yeah, but
y'all don't understand what stress do to you.
Yeah,
but it doesn't even have to be stress. There are people who are prematurely.
Yeah, but I'm also saying as I get stressed, I got some popping up on my head right now. I'm just saying we got to understand that you can get gray at any time.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
And the city was New Babylon. I'm sorry.
Yes, that's what it was. Okay. But I thought there was something else that Fremont was mentioned. It might have been.
Me too.
It might have been the main show. That might have been where That might have been where Michonne thought saw that the boat had docked that Rick might have been on, but I don't remember. But it does sound familiar. We'll make connections later because we'll go off into the weeds with that. But anyway, going back to Carol. Okay, so Carol goes to the garage people. She realizes that they know who Daryl is and that Daryl's gone. So of course she finds a crossbow, and she makes quick work of the garage people. She doesn't kill anybody, but she does break somebody's nose. She also shoots somebody in the foot. And basically is like, "Where's my friend?" They're like, "Lady, you crazy. Why are you gonna call this?"
She said certifiable. I said, at least she know.
She does.
Somebody pointed out, that's our family, because if you think about it, Michonne asked the same question to Rick, and Rick asked the same question to Michonne, and her response was also that they were certifiable. So yes, it is a family trait.
Yeah.
But my thing is, this woman done already broke, this little old lady has already broken your boy's nose. Why you gonna call her crazy when she got a fucking crossbow in her hand? She has already shown y'all that she is not scared to fight. Just tell her what she want to know and let her go.
Just leave her alone.
They don't see, this is something we have been saying. We told Madame Janae she needs to leave Daryl alone. Now we telling these people they need to leave Carol alone, which they're not really bothering her much.
Which no, bringing some of this upon herself though.
Yeah, they're not bothering her much, but they're just not giving her the information she needs. She's like, look.
Right. So basically, they was not bothering her, and she came into play. All right.
Thank you.
Well, they bothered her friend.
She come in with her hands up talking about, "Oh, I'm a friendly.
However, at least she told them about their friend in the trunk.
This is true. This is
got about an hour worth of air.
Maybe.
Give or take.
Maybe. But did you see the look on her face when they told her he was going to France? She was like, France? She was like, stop playing. They were like, no, for real. They come over here and they're looking for American walkers. We didn't ask too many questions. Look, this is the first time we've seen a boat in years. They came over and asked us for stuff. They gave us stuff. And you know what? They could have been the one providing the gas. So, they were like, yeah, he on a boat.
But we already know at this point, people have figured out ways to make gas.
Yeah.
At this point, we already know they figured it out.
Yeah, they probably got a cornfield growing somewhere.
I swear to God.
But when Carol goes to the shipyard to look for, clues, the shipyard is pretty abandoned and it's also pretty washed out. So it's obvious that ship couldn't have docked there. They had to have docked somewhere else.
No, it could have docked there, but they also said it was a long time ago. And you have to think, the ship can be in deep water, and they have little ships to come. Because Daryl escaped on a little ship. I mean, little ship, a little boat.
Yeah.
So they can be, far out enough into the water where they have a transport that goes back and forth. Because they had to transport the water some kind of way. They wasn't just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
anyway, that I can see.
This leads to Carol going for a drive because while she's at the boatyard, she sees an airplane in the air.
And she gets an idea.
Like, yes,
wait, I didn't think she saw it at the boatyard. She saw it when she was driving, not at the boatyard.
That wasn't the first. What? She was standing somewhere when she saw.
Yeah, she was standing.
That was after she crashed the car.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But that's next though. She saw the plane and she came up with the idea.
She was driving the car that she stole from the the junk guys, and she runs the car into something. So now she's got to walk, and she decides to follow the direction that this plane is going. So what she does is she finds a house, fenced up, electric fence, looks very well protected, has traps for the walkers, and she puts herself in the trap and starts saying, "Help!"
Yeah, I said, Okay, Carol.
When I say I hollered, I said, okay. I really
I
thought
mean,
I was like,
when I
okay, she
when
about
I
to get this
tell
man
you
killed.
the MVP of the apocalypse is Carol. If we have a montage at a award ceremony from the beginning to now,
She turns that helpless on
Like
it's
so
nothing.
quick.
like a light switch.
And
So
just
quick.
quick on your feet. Like, let me just put myself in this trap.
Right.
You don't even know what type of person it is.
Exactly. And that's what I was
But
thinking.
she's
Because
like,
he
I
was
don't
getting kind of,
care. Because
yeah.
I'll kill him and I'll fly the pain myself. I'll read a book. I mean, that's how she.
She ain't got nothing but time.
Nothing
Nothing
but
but.
time.
Well, no, because she doesn't know what kind of danger Daryl is in. So she may not have that kind of
Yeah,
time.
but she
But
ain't known what type of danger he been in for this amount of time. We just now figuring out that he in France, so she wouldn't have known that.
yeah. Yeah. But anyway, so the guy who owns the house, it does invite her in. She, she's telling him that her car broke down and she needs a new radiator. And he's very nice, offers to let her stay overnight. And I'm gonna tell you, I was really waiting for the shoe to drop all episode. I was waiting for this dude to die. I did not think he was gonna make it to the next episode. And I think I can fault the ones who live for that because I think they traumatized me. They introduce us to someone that might be kind of likable, and then they die. So I
Kill
wasn't
him right
really
off.
expecting Ash to kind of stick around for the entire episode, especially the next day when we kind of realize that this man has been living on his own for a while. He
Mm-hmm.
had a son who looked to be, I think he said he was 6 years old. The son died. You don't really hear how, but it's almost assumed that a walker killed him. At least
Mm-hmm.
that's the gist that I got. So
Mm-hmm.
he has this greenhouse where he grows his vegetables and he grows, other stuff. And he has basically like a shrine to his son in this greenhouse. But of course, Carol doesn't know this at first. She just realizes that, he has an alarm on his watch that goes off and he like rushes to this greenhouse, but it's kept under lock, just like the rest of the compound is. Okay.
Because
Now,
it's not your business.
it's not. It's never the business. But the way Carol gets herself in with this guy is because they bond over lost children, but not in the way that we think. Now,
Mm-hmm.
first off, he decided to let Carol sleep in his barn, and when he gets ready to open the doors, Carol has this flashback to the memory of Sophia coming out of the barn. And when I say I had been spoiled about this before the show aired, I knew that she was gonna have to not necessarily come to a reckoning, but she was gonna be dealing with some undealt with emotions in regards to Sophia. So I knew it
Mm-hmm.
was coming, but it still hit me so hard when the scene actually aired because you see her looking back on the past and they're using the flashback clips from the original show, but then they're also interspersing them with Carol's present moment. So you see her in her present situation with, the background behind her, but then you see Sophia come to her in that present. I was just like, okay, what are we doing? What the fuck is going on? And why are y'all trying to make me cry in the first episode?
Right. And
I did not. I thought I knew she was going to talk about Sophia, but I did not suspect that she would talk about her like, oh, she and friends with her daddy. I said,
well, that part. And so
said,
for me, to be honest with you, there's a disconnect of her and the flashbacks and um and her line about it. I just kind of feel like it was touching to see, but it was more just for people who didn't know. So that when she told this lie, they'd be like, "Oh, this is a deep lie."
Who's
mm-hmm.
not
Because
gonna who is watching this show that doesn't know the history?
You do have some people who started off at the end, towards the end of Walking Dead, and is watching these shows now, who didn't watch the beginning.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to say is like, or they may have forgotten, but we needed to establish her life, because I'm gonna tell you something about Carol now. Carol to me is almost like, I can't think of her name right now. However, Carol has processed this. Carol has already had flashbacks. Carol can easily walk into a barn and is not going to be thinking about her daughter. So it's really there for us. I don't think it was there for Carol.
You think so?
I think so. Now, if you had it more of when she was looking at the guy's things and she thought back to both her kids, because she did feel like the other boy was her kid too, I would have been okay with that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But just her walking to the barn, because at first I thought, shit, is this the barn? But no, we by the water. Wait a second. Like, that's
Right.
the only thing
In a
that would
whole
make me
other
think she
state.
trigger, right, that trigger that would be if we were on the farmhouse again and she like thinking back to it.
Right.
So really, this was for us. I'm just gonna be completely honest. I don't think she would have thought about it. She would have walked in. I thought she would be more thinking about her kid when that man was talking about his. And when she thought about her, she was like, you know what? This is my way in.
Now, I do feel that. I do feel that. And you know what you're saying, I think does make sense as well, because I don't think this is the first time Carol has seen a barn since then. Like, she had to have.
She has to have encountered barns.
Yes. Didn't they take shelter in a barn during that tornado? Right before they met Aaron? That was a barn.
Right. And that
So,
she would run into kids
But
or
that was
even
different.
walkers. And she would still have run into kids and walkers that would make her think of her baby. So that's why I'll say this would have
That
been
was
better if
different.
it was. I think it would still been better if when she was reminiscing when she's touching the man's items
yeah.
about his child. But this was, again, I think it was more to tie in to, we need to know her big lie. Just in case you forget.
But who
This
again?
heifer is lying. This heifer is lying about her child being alive.
But I just feel like anybody who knows Carol's character, even
I
if
know,
you
but
are,
come
even
on,
if you are
Carol.
a casual
I
fan
love,
of the show,
but not everyone can be a Carol, has a Carol lover.
you don't have to be a Carol lover to know what happened.
I know, Hanako, but some people literally, when I talk to people, did not start towards to the end. So they do not know like details like that.
And I guess that's what
Because that
that's the
never
whole
brought up.
thing
Right. If they
that
say something about a
confuses me.
kid, they may bring up, what's that boy's name? I can't
Henry.
even think of his name.
Henry.
And forget about her baby.
And I guess that's just the thing that kind of confuses me, because just the way that I view TV, like, I already
You
know
can,
that these spin-offs are based
yeah.
on characters from an original show. And even if I don't go back and watch that original show, I'm going to do some kind of research on these characters to see if this is something I even want to pay attention to.
But we talk about this all the time, even on the other podcast with the other two
And I
guys. You
still,
do. And there's some viewers are not us type of viewers that consume it. I mean, be honest. Like, there's not a lot of people, you watch something and then you go on YouTube to research it. That's me. You make sure when you watch something, you know about all the characters. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are just casual. They watch it and they're like, oh, okay. And then they move on. But they did, because if she was.
We're invested.
What was her baby's name again, anyway? Sophia. So when she's sitting there talking to him and said, "Oh, my daughter Sophia," some people be like, "Oh, she making this up? Did she have a daughter?" And we're thinking, "Oh man, she never spoken Sophia's name a long time." But to gather our emotions, they had to play the scene before she told the biggest lie.
I guess.
But you have to keep in mind. Okay, this is my little thought on it. Yes, she's been in barns before. Yes, she's been around kids before. all that. But keep in mind, all of that is when we have everybody else who is in our community. Now I'm out on the road with nothing but me and my thoughts. So of course your thought is, I'm trying to get to my friend. Yes. Now that I'm searching for my friend who helped me get through this situation where I did lose my daughter. So now I'm out on the search for this friend. So now there are going to be certain things that spark, like, oh, damn, even when she saw the Cherokee Rose, she was like, you know what I mean? These are things that tie her and Daryl together. So now that it's strictly just her, she don't have the luxury of everybody else in the community. I'm on this road. I'm on my own. You know, I met this new guy, but these are things that, oh, shit, I have to stay within my mind frame of reality that this is my friend who I'm looking for. And these things are the reasons why I'm looking for him. This is how this became my best friend.
Yeah.
So
right.
Fucking best friend. So
right.
yeah,
So we should have a montage of their friendship.
But that's part of it. That would be part of it.
But I think
when you're touching his things with his kids, right? That's what I'm trying to say. I guess that's the thing.
You have her think, like you said, she hasn't talked about Sophia in a long time, hasn't thought about her, whatever. And you have her doing this even before she knows about Ash's son. So in that sense, the timing is weird, because I think if she would have found out about him and his son first, like when she asked him about, you know, his son, oh yeah, I have a son, but he's not around anymore. However that conversation happened, I can't remember. If at that point, then she had the flashback about Sophia, that to me would have made a little more sense. And then for her to follow it up with the big lie, I would have been like, oh, okay, yeah, she figured it out. That's her way in. But to do it in reverse, because she had the flashback about Sophia before she found out about his son, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
yeah. And that's what I was saying. Like, it makes sense when you're holding a kid's things that someone's been like memorializing, and it makes her think of the teddy bear that Sophia had, and then it brought her to Sophia as a baby, Sophia with the teddy bear, and then Sophia coming out of that barn. I would totally get that.
Yeah.
Now, if we want to build on Carol and her relationship, Dale's relationship, I need flashbacks of them together, not when her daughter dies. Yeah. So I think that's two separate things.
Yeah.
However, I can see that her mind is open because she's listening to, the life coach in the car.
Right.
So she, a little open to start thinking about her life. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it would have made sense to, when she touched those things, even after he told her about the kid, when you touch those things, you start thinking about your kid and their things, and how the apocalypse came and you lost her, and then you even gained another son. Show Henry too, and then you lost him,
But Henry didn't die. Now, if she come across some spikes, she may have a flashback.
You know what?
You know what? I can't. Nah.
But I was gonna say, but see, it wouldn't have made sense for them to bring Henry up, because if you bring Henry up, I'm sorry, you got to bring Lizzie and Mika up too, and that's way too heavy.
Well, that wasn't like her kids. She was protecting them.
Might as well have been.
But it still wasn't like
what
Henry.
Did Dad say when
she was
died?
Like Henry was her son.
I know.
Yeah.
So that's something totally different. Those some kids that was, one of them was fucked up. But I had to fix that.
Right. But
because
but
she was gonna kill the. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. She was gonna kill Judith. That's something totally separate.
Yeah. But if they bring
that was my niece, you know what I'm saying, that this little girl was about to kill. Yeah. So I had to get her straight. She had to go.
Okay, we won't go there. We won't go there.
You got it straight, all right.
Yeah, so
to the brain.
Yeah, she's not gonna we don't have flashback on that if she got to kill another kid for the same purposes.
Okay. So let's go to this story that Carol tells her new friend Ash about why she needs to go to France, because at first she doesn't say anything to him about the plane. It's all about fixing the car, making sure the car is okay so she can go da-da-da. Now, once she finds out he has the son, that's when she starts talking about Sophia. But of course, the story that she that she gives is that Ed, her wonderful husband, had a brother or had a relative or somebody's relative was over in France, and that's where they were visiting right before everything fell. And she was like, okay, I need to go see for myself. And he asked, like, after all this time, like, you didn't try to go before? And I was just like, if this guy falls for this,
he fell for it.
He's gonna
do it.
Cause I'm like you too. This been years, honey. That girl's dead.
Yeah.
Right.
But she played on the heartstrings.
Or even if she's not dead. I mean, he even asked it. He was like, would you be able to recognize her after all this time? And then she was like, wouldn't you recognize yours? After 15 years of not seeing them, people can change. Like, yes, some of them will keep their faces the same, but some kids are gonna change.
I wouldn't even. I'll be honest with you. No, you couldn't tell after all these years.
Unless
absolutely not.
Because it will be different if you left them when they were 19 and they're 35.
Sophia was 11.
That's different, because I was telling someone it's different. Like when they're kids and how they grow, like they change so much. Because even my kid, as a high school, she's changed from what she was in 9th grade. So like their looks can be different. Right. So 15 years?
Yeah.
No.
Like she would literally be an adult now.
Right. Shaved head. Like you wouldn't even know. Like you wouldn't know. She like punk rock. You would not have an idea.
Yeah. Especially over there in France, you know, they still
right. You like you just don't know.
Right. But anyway, he buys this story, you know. He takes the plane out for his daily run, and leaves Carol there on the farm by herself. And his power grid tends to go out every once in a while. So it's every once in a while it shorts out, which means all the locks unlock and everything. So of course, the lock to the greenhouse opens, and she's just like, let me go see what's in here before I try to fix this electricity. Now, what has happened is the outside gate has also unlocked. And I guess the walkers decide to come in and just, you know, go exploring, which...
Where the hell the walkers come from?
Right. I don't know.
Well,
he been good this time. He did
say that the airplane attracts the noise. And then if Carol is there, I don't know, maybe something about there being another person. We don't know how the walkers' brains work. We don't know how they sense where people are. You know, we've had this conversation about some of the other shows where, you know, somebody can drop a pin over here and a walker is going to snap their head around and look, but then you can have somebody opening a door right next to a walker and they're going to go straight past it and not pay attention. So we don't know what draws them in, but something about this farm drew them in. Maybe it was the hum of the electricity on the fence, and when it clicked off, maybe that, you know, they realized there was a difference and they were like, oh, let's go investigate. Whatever the case is, the farm gets overrun by walkers while Carol is in there in the greenhouse being nosy and looking through, you know, ashes, basically his shrine of his son. She gets caught in the greenhouse. She gets trapped and she's trying to escape. And of course, like I said, the walkers come in the greenhouse. They start tearing stuff up. She starts tearing stuff up. He comes back on the plane and starts killing the walkers with a machine gun. And he's pissed, rightfully so, because he was like, why are you in here? And my thing is, you didn't even have to tell him that you went in there to be nosy. You could have told him the power went out. I was trying to fix it. The walkers came in. I got overwhelmed. Yeah. I ran in here for safety.
Yeah.
Again, if you're going to lie, make it a believable one. That would have been more believable than my daughter's been over in France for 15 years. I'm just not going to go try to go find her.
It's plausible. Really? It's plausible.
Yeah, that one. But
I wish y'all could see my face right now. So is walking into the greenhouse because the walkers are coming to get you. Because I mean, all she had to do was tell him that the power went out. I mean, it happened the night before.
I mean, but he saw that. He saw the power was out.
Yeah, when he came back.
He did. But she has to play on his emotion, because she could have said her brother, went over there.
She could have said her brother went over there to look for Sophia. And I need to
go. Right. And the thing about it is you could even tell the truth but lie and say, I'm really close to my twin brother. He had went off, and I've come to find out he was taken by some people on boats and went to France.
But he
wouldn't have took him for that.
Yeah.
He would.
Okay, so then you throw in, you still throw in, but you throw in the truth of, then if you don't think he will let you go with your twin brother, say my brother and daughter was together, and I found that they were taken.
No, because that's the word that's going to get him to say no. Because when you say that someone is taken, that means it's an aggressive action. That means that there's an enemy. That means that there's some kind of animosity. If this man,
okay, well, don't say taken. They got on a boat.
If this man has been living a peaceful life for the last 12, 13, 14, 15 years, and you tell him anything that has to do with any type of, I might have to be against, no, he's not going to, he's going to be like, okay, here's some food.
He's going to say, what that got to do
with me? But guess what?
Right.
You still fell for it, because there's no way I'm taking her over for a 15-year-old wish. You were better off saying they did get on a boat. Like, there were some French people who came over and asked for volunteers.
No, he would not.
He wouldn't do it if it was an aggressive.
I said volunteers. I didn't say taking. I said change the wording.
If you volunteer, that means you went over there on your own accord.
Right, but they thought they were coming back.
No.
So we need to fly out.
What she did, even though it's deplorable to us, because I would have just been like, look, I got family who is over there. I need to go find them. Her using Sophia, I think, is gonna bite her in the ass, because when when they get over there and there is no Sophia. Now, however she's gonna spin that, if she does happen to find Daryl and is able to kind of relay to him, hey, I told this dude that Sophia was over here, so I need you. Daryl may not even be with that.
Right. And but again, you know what? It's not Carol's fault.
I don't see Daryl not having her back.
It's not Carol's fault. It's not.
It is.
You know what? No, he believed it. Because I'm not taking someone over there for a 15-year-old wish and dream.
And not in a plane that I rebuilt myself. That,
yeah,
like
so
said, for all of the good reasons that he told her, you're trying to get me to fly overseas in conditions unknown, into territory unknown. We don't know what we're flying into. And you don't even know if she's alive.
So now, that's on him.
The only reason I can think of that he might have agreed to go is that he needed a change of scenery. And then
I can agree to that.
But no, because he said I have everything I need here. Because when
he needed a cause. Okay. He needed something to do.
I think he needed some companionship, because you can be fine without people, but then once you're around someone, that might kind of stir up like, oh, I do miss having someone to talk to. I do miss having someone to be around.
And this is an adventure.
He might have even considered it at that point. I'm pretty sure the very, very deciding factor was the fact that it started storming, lightning struck his power console, and now you got walkers from everywhere coming onto your grounds, and then because of the lightning, all of the ethanol you had in your barn exploded.
Blew up. Thank God you put some in the plane.
Right.
Thank God.
Thank goodness that happened before or after you put the stuff in the plane, because then y'all wouldn't be going anywhere and you'd be trapped.
Mm-hmm.
But they get in the plane, they escape from the walkers, and they take off into the golden sunset. And Carol has never flown on a plane before. I was like, you know what? This whole thing is just so convoluted. Because not only are you getting on a what is that, like a single engine or a twin engine plane for your first airplane ride during an apocalypse, going to another country, not knowing what the fuck you're like. Who comes up with this?
I feel so bad. She didn't get to at least fly Delta one good time.
Didn't have
end.
the luxury stuff. But
no snacks.
Nothing.
But I mean,
but that can show you the dedication and the love that she has for Daryl, because, and the no fear, because you're getting on this plane. That
we already see the love and dedication.
I know, but this is real love and dedication, because like you literally, like, you know, this plane is going to fall apart in the middle of the ocean.
Right. And you're taking off during a storm.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's probably not. The recording she was listening to in the car is the same thing he said to her.
I was gonna ask the same thing, whether or not that was him. I don't know. I didn't get a chance to go back and watch it a second time to see if there was like a name on the cassette. But when he said it, the fact that she turned her head and I turned my head, I was like, was that?
That's why I said, like, was you talking on the tape?
Like, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that somebody out in the quote unquote wild was a famous person, because if you remember, Beta was a country singer, we find out. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, it could have been him. It kind of sounded like it when he said it, but again, I didn't get a chance to go back and rewatch it, so I'm not sure. But it's possible it could be him.
Yeah. It definitely gave me him vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
right.
That sounds familiar.
Which could also explain why he was so at peace being by himself without being around other people, especially after he lost his son. He might have just, had that kind of mentality to where he processed it, he dealt with it, and he was just like, okay, you know what? I'm good. I'm just gonna sit here all by myself. I'm not gonna worry about anybody else and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then here comes Carol, and in less than 24 hours, his whole way of existence is gone. Like, I would be pissed. Like, yeah, you can have some compassion for this person and her story or whatever it is. There was something about that story that sparked something in you to make you say, okay, you know what? I'm going to help you out. We're going to go on this adventure. We're going to try to find your daughter. But I will also be pissed because now I don't have a place to come back to. Like, the place that I remembered my child is gone, which I guess in an apocalypse type of setting, that might not be as important, because especially like we see with our group, they're on the move so much. So it's not like, it's not like they'd be able to go and, visit Beth's grave or visit Tyrese's grave or something like that. But I mean, hey, you had Luciana and them go back to where they buried Nick and dig his body up and cremate him. So, I mean,
that wasn't weird.
We're not even. I'm sorry. We're not gonna go on to a Fear the Walking Dead tangent.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I just. At least Daryl got to okay. Daryl got to France, and no, No, I can't even say that. Because he wasn't
What?
at the Abbey, but maybe a day or two before the Abbey fell because Cadron came looking for him. So yeah, I
Yep.
was gonna say at least Paris is
Michelle
still
right.
standing, but yeah, no.
Michelle is right. Our people show up and shit go to shit.
Yeah.
All the time.
So if that is the case, then that means when Carol gets to France and meets Madame Genet, that should be quick work. It's a done deal.
It's gonna crumble.
It's got to.
It is.
Because you're gonna have Daryl and Carol.
Yeah.
But of course, she has to find him first, and Daryl hasn't even remained in the same. Like, what something would have to push her towards the Mont Saint Michel, because as
right,
of
but
right now, it doesn't look like Daryl is going anywhere.
Right, but she's going to encounter, like I'm saying, they're going to end up in the circles that they need to be. Because I looked up, France is like the size of Texas. So as long as she stay by the shores and do that type of thing, it's going to work out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
I don't have a doubt with that she's not going to find them.
Yeah, right. But the problem is she's just going to have issues because once she goes looking for him, like I said, people are going to put two and two together. Oh, you're American. Oh, he's American. Wait. Mm-hmm. You know, even though not all Americans know each other, but still, like I said, the fact that two of y'all have come over here.
I wouldn't even think that too, because like the other American that was there, like Americans was like, we had tourists in different places around the world, and you got stuck.
But it's 15 years later. If you haven't seen like that
well,
one,
once they meet Carol, they'll realize why. Again, I'm telling you, Carol could have been in the CIA, and she was over there doing some work and ended up staying. Like y'all just have to just no assumptions about people. You know what I'm saying?
But what would be the thing to bring her out? If, like, say that's her story, what would make her now come out?
She been traveling. She was in Germany. I don't know. She just been traveling.
Michelle, it's a zombie apocalypse. There are no vacations. There are no field trips. There are no.
She gonna come up with one. I bet she said she was living in a village and the village got overtaken and they got scattered. She was look, it was 15 years ago, right? She was 25. She was doing
she was doing study abroad.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And she was with a family and now like they got scattered. So that is the reason why she is out and about.
Oh my God.
You know, they were gardening, they were fishing, and it just went to hell. Carol gonna come up with a story though.
We already know.
I hope it's better than my daughter was stranded over here when the world went to shit, and I need to go and look for her. I need some closure now. 15 years after.
You don't believe that?
Like, well, did you paddle over here, ma'am?
Right, because that's gonna become the question. How did
you get here?
A long time.
Because
so that's why you say you were already over there. You've been over here.
Because unlike the CRM,
right?
This I haven't seen no planes in France.
Right.
I haven't seen a helicopter. I haven't seen anything. So if they find Ash, they're not letting that man go.
Oh no.
Yeah. So you better say
you mean tell me I can get up out of here?
Right, you would study abroad, or you know what I'm saying, or I don't care, ma'am. You're gonna make something up that you've been over here this whole entire time, right? And you just now getting to this area.
I don't know, because my whole thing is just like Casey just mentioned. We know that boats are the main travel for them because I mean, even before Quinn died. When Daryl was making inquiries about getting back home, everybody that he talked to kept mentioning boats. Boats. Nobody mentioned a plane.
Or a helicopter.
Even
no, because
they're
doing boats.
Ash end up flying over there, somebody's going to see that plane. They're going to do the same thing Carol did. They're going to be like, oh, there's a plane. Let me follow the direction that it went in. Somebody's going to find them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to have Carol trying to make an excuse. Like you said, Michelle, she's probably going to tell them, oh, we were such and such, whatever. But again, we don't know the kind of connections that Madame Janae has anywhere else. It's already kind of weird that you're in France and you still have connections in the Americas 15 years after the fact. So where else are you doing business? Who else do you have connections with? And again, going back to what Casey said earlier, where are your enemies? Who else? Because she's got to be making these souped up walkers to go against somebody.
Right. There's someone in charge of her. You see what I'm saying? So we'll find out who that is later.
Or that could be another way that they're tying the CRM into the whole storyline, because if the CRM is as big as we knew it to be in The Ones Who Live, they had to have had a fleet. I mean, we know they had boats. We know they had boats. We know.
But in order for that, so that means in order for that to happen, this would have to be before The Ones That Live.
And I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't even think it's the CRM. I think the CRM could be involved, but this is a different. This is international, so they probably have their own type of group, and that group is talking with the CRM, and they can work together.
Mm-hmm.
Because how the CRM came to be, that was immediate. That was on Homeland. So imagine what's happening over there. They had to have something immediate like that too. So that's a separate group, and that's what we're going to see. She is just a fraction of the larger group, and this could just be the research fraction.
Yeah.
Of that group.
But she ain't doing research. She's trying to make super soldiers.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the research. They're not looking for a cure, but they're looking for what could they. I don't see how you even need you already got them out in the world. Why we need walker soldiers, but whatever.
Why they got to be
right? They like already fucking killing everything. So
right. So that don't even.
What's the point?
Right.
Unless you're using them on people.
Right, that don't
you can't
agree
even control
to
them, because the ones that you had in the fighting pit, one of the ones went and attacked one of your own walkers. So
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if a group of people don't come with them or agree to. They'll just release them on them.
Yeah, that might be part of their 100-year plan.
Yeah. When people don't agree, we just release. When people don't agree, we just release. Because they know how to fight regular walkers, but they won't know how to fight our walkers.
No.
Right, not no souped up walker.
Unless their name is Daryl Dixon.
That part.
So. But yeah, I can't wait to see. Okay, so if Carol makes it over to France, I can't wait to see what her reaction is going to be to some of these walkers. Like the burning walkers, the acid walkers. She's gonna be looking like, what the fuck? Take me back home. Daryl's gonna have to fend for himself. She's gonna be like, no.
She's gonna be lost as hell.
Right.
As soon as they touch your skin, hold on, wait a minute.
Right.
But you have to keep in mind there aren't that many walkers in Paris. Yes, they were isolated around the Eiffel Tower. But remember, for the most part, there were no walkers. So I don't even think...
Unless they're just popping up out the ground. Whack-a-mole style.
But even then, Paris is a concrete jungle.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, where's she going to encounter them at? So again, what do they say? Fear the living. Fight the dead. She got to fear these motherfuckers who's alive. That's going to be her biggest threat. The walkers really ain't no threat in France. Like, in France. Because they really ain't that many. They have gathered so many that if you do find some, I doubt it's alive.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we talked about that last season, because remember, I was talking about the lack of herds.
Yeah.
Like, you don't really...
They rounded them all up.
Could be.
Yeah.
Unless they start killing.
And you got to think too with the herds, like just like us, they're migrating in different locations. You see what I'm saying? It's a large landmass. They walk into another country.
And unless they are, I lost my train of thought. Oh, unless they are killing people to make them the herd, they're killing people who are alive. But if you're killing everybody who are alive, who are you gonna have to worship?
Yeah, because that doesn't seem to be their MO, because even in the earlier episodes or in the flashback episodes when Daryl was basically remembering how he got to be in France, they came over looking specifically for walkers, not people.
Mm-hmm.
They only took the people because the people didn't follow the rules that were set, that was set forth. Or Daryl and the other people, they got into a fight, and that was like one of the rules was no fighting. So yeah, that doesn't make sense because they weren't looking for people. Now, and you know what? If they had, again, we are talking about 15 years. If they've been doing experiments on their walkers the way that we've seen, or, their walkers are just, they've died off or they've killed them, I guess in that sense, with the countryside being absent of them, it would make sense for them to have to go to another country to find walkers.
Yeah.
Because if all of your walkers are gone or not, or I would say this, because like when Daryl was in the warehouse when he first got to France, those walkers were the burning walkers. They were the acid walkers. So that means that those walkers at some point have already been experimented on. So maybe that's why they're having to come over to the States, because they're looking for walkers that have not been altered in any way, and they still need to do the experiments. That would make sense, and that would also explain why we don't really see walkers in France, because they've probably tested all of them. And if you have the ones like the one that was in that death match, where when he got shot up with the serum, it overpowered his system and his brain exploded. If they had that happening a lot towards the beginning, then that could explain. I mean, they literally could have gone through all the walkers in France. I mean, it would seem unlikely, but like you said, if France is about the size of Texas, I mean, Texas is pretty big, but it's not like the United States. So it's not like they've killed a whole country, or a whole North American sized country's worth of walkers, maybe a few 100,000, but in 10-15 years that could be believable.
And then they could have pushed them into Spain, could have pushed them into Germany, could have pushed them into Italy. I mean, we just don't know.
Could have pushed them in the ocean.
I hate, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying like we don't really know. But my thing is, I'm gonna go as a scientist. So if we're doing that, and I want something different, I would like to see the strands of Americans. A different strand, because that's going to be a different strand.
Yeah. So, and that could, I mean, we don't know what the storyline is for season 3 yet, but we do know that they're filming in Madrid, so it's possible they may be going to Spain. So it could have something to do with that too. Like, oh, maybe let's go get some Spanish walkers and see what we can figure out. Because again, we still don't know why they're doing the experiments. Yeah, they could be looking for to weaponize them, but they could also be looking for a cure. We just don't know.
I don't see a cure.
I know.
I don't either.
I know.
At this point,
because we don't because we still don't know what caused it. But the fact that everybody is infected, yeah, that would be a hard thing, I think, to cure.
Yeah.
That's
how. Because right now, at this point, it's just like kind of like what in the world beyond, how they had like their older people in these rooms where if you die, you're contained. But I mean, short of that, because all you're doing at this point is making sure you're safe from it.
Yeah.
Because if you think back, a lot of times the prison when people were sick, and that's how everybody else got infected, got bit. If they had that system, like in these safer communities, that would help them, of course. But even still, even with World Beyond, they had researchers, but they wasn't working on people who was sick. Fix the person who's sick first.
Yeah.
Before they even get to that point. But once they die, ain't nothing else to do. Hell, didn't Jennings tell us that in the beginning? There's no way to reverse it. He basically said that.
Yeah.
So there basically is no cure and everybody's infected.
No. Because one, how would you even if such a thing as a cure for something like this were to exist, how would you even disperse it at this point?
Right. Where would you find the people? Because it's not like it's no mass communications. You can't put a newspaper out. You can't mail a letter.
Well, no,
but we still don't even know where all the communities are. Yes, in the ones that live, they're now doing outreach for, people who need help. But even still, the CRM, even with them doing that, ain't gonna be able to reach everybody.
Yeah.
There'll be things that people will say, oh, there's this group that will help you if you ask for help. But they plan was to basically sweep the whole fucking country. They're not doing that now.
Yeah.
So how do you get the word out that there's a team, you saw how Terminus did. We thought Terminus was safe. Sanctuary for all. Really?
Yeah.
So
like barbecue for all.
Hello.
So
painted meat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, those are the things that at this point, if they were going to fix it, it'd have been fixed. That's just my thought. This far into it,
yeah.
If there was a cure, they would have found it already.
Yeah, I agree. But again, we still need to know what the hell they are actually doing. They do need to. We need some answers about that at this point.
We do.
But there's still answers we need even from before. Because
I know.
Our whole reason for coming to France, that walker who shot herself and immediately got up at, we never got an answer for that.
Mm-hmm. We haven't.
So there's still some unanswered, and who would be the one to answer that? Because how long ago was that?
Yeah.
To now. Right. So you went from, shooting yourself and immediately regenerating to we injecting y'all with a serum so you can be a super walker.
And we don't even know when she was shot.
Yeah.
We don't know how far after all of that, everything started.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Questions.
I just hope
I'm gonna need them to start answering some of this shit.
Right. And that's what I was about to say. The one thing I really don't want them to do is just drag the story out and then not give us any answers that we need, because that's one of the things I will say I did not like about The Ones Who Live, because you built up the CRM literally from the first episode of the main show with that helicopter. You put elements of the CRM into every single spinoff or story that we had, except for, I don't think there was a mention of them in Dead City, or so far a mention of them in Daryl. But still, you put enough of their information and their footprint into the universe that for it to go up the way that it did with Rick and Michonne, which if that's only one part of the CRM, I can, okay, that's fine. There are other parts of the CRM, and we know that that action had a trickle down effect into the rest of the CRM. Are you going to give us more CRM story? Are you going to tell us why they were such a big part of this story? Enough that you kept leaving the breadcrumbs for us. Are we going to see any of those breadcrumbs appear in this show?
Right.
I just, those are some of the questions I still have. Because something at some point, and I know that they may not do this, but at some point, all of these stories are going to have to tie back together.
Yep.
Yes, they are.
They don't have to.
Because I feel like if you continue to tell the separate stories, like I have no problems with the separate stories. I don't care about Daryl Dixon having 2, 3, 4 seasons as long as the story makes sense. Going back to Dead City, that story is going to have to make sense, you know. And we see that was a slow burn. And I think out of all of the shows, that one for me had the least amount of payoff, because you took a character arc for one character, Maggie, and instead of moving her forward, you took her all the way back to the beginning of her grief.
All the way back to the beginning.
Right. So
right.
It's like that story is going to need to come along and develop and make sense. If you come up with other spinoffs, we hear that there's other things taking place.
But you know what? I'm okay if they don't connect, depending on where they are. So Dead City are too close to where everything else happened. Even the CRM, it has to connect some parts.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to even see how Dead City is going to connect. Daryl, I can understand that's not connecting, but that just shows us a different place of what's happening.
No, I need the Daryl.
You know what I'm saying? The connection
I need him and Rick to reunite. That I
well,
need to
yeah,
that.
but I'm talking about even the other part, not the family reuniting, but just it making a connection to what's happening in the States. I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Even the fear, I was okay with, because you started off in California. Like, I don't expect you to migrate all the way to the original crew.
Right.
It didn't need to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they moved into an area where you say the CRM, well, that would make sense for you to encounter, and they did a couple of times. So, okay, you tied that in, but
and like
don't
with
get me on
Sherry
Dead
and
City,
Dwight and
right?
Morgan,
yeah, but okay, don't even get on Dead City. But Daryl, I'm okay with, because I know that's just a separate location, and we're getting a view of another part of the world that's dealing with what we dealt with, and how our people will be able to negotiate in that environment.
Right.
And if they ever make it home.
Long as Ashley don't get shot, they should make it home.
Because that's a feat, though. I mean, honestly, that's a feat to go from.
Don't the feat just getting her across the water?
Yes, get him even over there. And then if she makes it, and we saying if she makes it when it's about her going to save him, so of course she gonna make it.
Right.
But even, I'm just amazed that they even make it, because that plane can fall apart. I mean, in the middle, it's not even an international flight.
Well, I mean,
like, he doesn't have another pilot, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's why he was talking about, when he was showing her the map, he was saying, I think we need to stay close to the coast, and then we need to make a pit stop in Greenland so they can refuel. So it's not like he's going straight from the States.
I know, but it just, I'm just like, still.
I know. We'll just...
I'm better off if she found a fisherman than the pilot. But she got to get there fast.
We got to do something
different. It's going to take some time.
We got to explore something a little different. So
no, I'm like, rather like the boat came back to pick up more Americans and she smuggled her way on it. Like,
how they gonna do that? Daryl fucked the boat up.
It has to be another boat. Like, these people, it has
to
be
probably had to do what they had to do to find that one. Not you tow up my one good boat.
Nah, you know, they have to have some more than just one.
Well, I mean, most of the boats, if you think about it, when all of this stuff started happening, you had people who were on cruises. We saw that in the Alpha episode of Tales. You know, they were on a dinner cruise boat, and you saw the downed cruise ship when Michonne was looking for Rick. And then I don't think you guys haven't watched Dead in the Water, have you? The one about the sub, Riley sub. Yeah. Okay. So you had the people who were on the sub, and all, you know, like somebody died from appendicitis and it started there on the boat.
Right.
boats might be few and far between because most of them might be infested.
Yeah, but you will clean them out. I mean, I'm just saying you will not pick a cruise ship. I love cruises. However, they do need to go to dry dock more than some of these other ones that are container ships.
Yeah, yeah.
They will do best with container ships. Those will be the ones that you will try to compensate, or any military ships, because they are a little longer lasting.
Right.
So you will try to get those people off the boat that are dead.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Well, okay. So we got Carol on her way to France.
Yes.
You've got Daryl kind of, I don't want to say he's butting heads with Losang at the nest, but clearly Daryl
They
feels
have an ulterior motive.
I don't know if I feel like Losang does. That other chick, she kind of worries me because she's a little more gung-ho. And even though she's the one who's like, when Laurent is doing stuff, he doesn't need to be doing this. He needs to be studying. He needs to be focused and blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, you're a little too intense for my liking. I don't trust her. I don't know what it is about her. I don't trust her. Losang, I'm kind of on the fence with him. I'll see how I feel about him in the next episode when we see like what is their path moving forward with Laurent. That again, that is my big question. You keep saying he's the savior, he's the Messiah, he's gonna fix everything, whatever. I need to know what your plans are for Laurent, and then I'll decide how I feel about Losang and the rest of the nest. But you did get Falu back. You did get Emil back. So that's a good thing. Again, I don't know why he didn't kill.
Because they listen to Daryl.
Yeah. But I don't know why he didn't kill Madame Janae, and I have a feeling that's gonna come back to bite him in the ass. Somebody's gonna die. Somebody's gonna die. We already know. Yeah.
It's gonna be, is it one of the two people that, or how many people they say? Like 6? It's gonna be one of them.
Well, we only know 2 of them, and we only care about 2 of them, so it's gonna be one of them.
But in the same vein, I don't know why Madame Janae don't just kill Daryl. Like in the same way he could have just killed her. You see, this man is giving you issues.
Yeah,
kill this man. I mean, although she said him, her guy to do it, and he was like, nah. But do it yourself then. Because once he threw the walk ahead at you, bitch, that was your sign. I might not want to play with this man. I might just want to kill him now.
No.
Right.
Because y'all waited till the walk ahead come flying and everybody go run it. Wait, what? You just gonna let your prisoner escape? Okay, girl.
Yeah.
You a horrible warden.
Okay. But I don't know. I just kind of feel for everything once Carol gets to France. It's gonna be over. It's gonna be over.
Really? Carol the Destructor.
Yeah, and well, they all are. And now it's 2 of them there, so it's even more mess.
Yeah.
Destruction.
And again, this goes back to, this has to be taking place before Rick and Michonne got home, because especially since Carol is using somebody's plane to get over to France, if Rick had been back already, they'd have. Oh
yeah, they would definitely have.
So yeah, so now we just,
and like I said, if Rick was back, she was saying that first. You're not gonna. That's not information you're gonna hold off on.
Right.
It's just not. That's the most important thing. Ain't nothing. Hey, guess who here?
Yeah.
Fuck all that other shit.
So,
like, honestly, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. So Carol's on her way to France, and God help him. You guys have any final thoughts on episode 1 of season 2?
It's about to be some shit. That's all I got.
On that note, that is it for our show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media, on all the social media at Fandom Hybrid. You can chat with us on our Discord channel. You can watch our videos on our YouTube channel, and you can listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.